In this video, we're going to talk about how to use some of the built-in calculations associated with pivot tables, and then we'll also add our own calculations. Same data, I'm going with this motel information. I'm going to create my own pivot table this time. I'm going to go insert pivot table, put it in a brand new sheet, and I'm just going to grab the month and put it in my rows. We're going to grab the year and put it in the columns, and then we'll just do a simple revenue calculation down here. Just to demonstrate, I am only going to look at 1 year for right now, and then we're going to rank the revenue by month for that year. I'm going to remove the grand totals to keep it clean. So under design, grand totals, I'm just going to leave it on for the column. So I'll leave that one down here. So now, I want a column right here that's going to rank 1 through 12, which was our highest month. In order to do that, I have to start out by dragging the revenue down here a second time, and it's on this one that I'm going to make it be a rank instead of a sum. So what I do is click the value field setting. So two places to do that. Value field setting right here, or the drop-down list in the task pane. And this box has a second tab, show value as, and right here there's all of these different types of calculations that we can do, and the one we're going to do right now is rank largest to smallest. So I want to rank largest to smallest. It's going to be on the month based on the revenue. So all I have to do is hit OK, and there are the ranks. So obviously our largest month is July, and the second largest month is August. So it looks like we're a seasonal motel chain, or whatever. The summer months tend to get the most of the revenue. Now, in order to have these columns make sense, obviously I should have, when I was in there under the value field settings, change this to rank, and I'll hit OK. And maybe my sum of revenue, I could just put in total revenue. And I'll hit OK on that. Now, let's do another example. Whoops, I accidentally double-clicked on that. I will grab the revenue column, put it down here for a third time. So, same thing, value field settings. I'm going to go show value as, and this time we can do what's called a running total. And so basically it'll show how our revenue keeps increasing throughout the year. So I'll hit OK on that. And so here, the first month, we have that much. I think I'll go ahead and make both of these fields in accounting format. Makes it a little easier to read the information. And I'll do it the same for this total revenue. There we go. So anyway, you can see the January we have 2 million in revenue, and then we add another 3 in February, so it's 5. Then we add 3 more, and now we're up to 9.3. We add 3 more, we're up to 13. So this is just creating a running total. And one more time, I may want to put that as the description. As long as we're doing this, let's keep going. Let's do another one, revenue. And this time, value field settings. I can show the difference from. And so then it's going to, what do you want to do? The difference from. And I want to go the previous. And so as we're moving along, are we going up or down each month? So I'm going to go, the base field is the month that we have, but the base item is going to be the previous month. What you could do is say, what's the difference from a particular month, if that was of interest. So in this case, I'm just going to say the difference from the previous. And so now you can see we went up, well, darn it, value field settings, one more time, number format, we'll make it accounting. And we'll just put the difference, or whatever, monthly difference. Hit OK. There we go. So anyway, you can see we went up 410,000. Now in July, we went from 5.9 to 5.4, so we lost 448. So there's a monthly difference calculation. Now, in order to show a couple more of these built-in calculations, I'm going to go to another pivot table. This is revenue by location and by year. So one that I can do here is to show me the percent difference between each of these years. So Again, I'm going to add a revenue column, but unfortunately it's going to add it twice, if you will. It's going to do it once for each year, and we're going to now end up hiding one of them. But let's go into sum of revenue value field settings, show value as, and before we did a difference of the previous, and so this time we'll go difference from, and the base field will be year, and we want to see the difference of 2021 to 2020. So I'll hit OK on that. And one more time, every time I do this, so let's go diff between years. I'll be a little bit lazy in my titling, and I'll do again a number format. We'll do the accounting to two places and hit OK. So for instance, that's a little hard to see, but here is the 3437, 3586, so it looks like it went up 149,000. So the only thing you can do to get rid of this extra column is to really select it, right click on it, and then hit hide. So now we'll get our 2020 year, 2021, and then the difference between those 2 years. So now, one more time, let's throw down the revenue column, and this time we are going to go value field settings, show value of as, and it will be a percentage of the parent row total. So you kind of have to play with these to see what they're doing, but let's just play with this one for a second, and we'll just say percent of total for now. We'll go to summarize values by them immediately. Oh, it's going to be percentage, so I don't have to mess this time, even though I finally remembered. And I'll hit OK. Again, I'm going to hide this one. So we're just seeing the one. And basically the idea is if I were to add this, and I'll hold down the control key, this and this. Notice that's 100%. So of the total revenue generated between our 3 regions, Eastern is giving us almost 50, Central is giving us 25, and the Western is giving us 25. So those are the percentage of the revenue by region. And now if I were to go within that region, excuse me, so I select all of this and notice that totals to 100%. So within Eastern region, it looks like the Omaha Inn and Suites is giving us 14.5% of our total. This is 12.5, 12 or 12.9, 12.8, right? You can see the numbers. So then same thing down here within the Central region, 15, 14, 14, it all totals to 100, but that's within this region. So some of those other percentages will, rather than giving us percentage of the row, it'll give us percentage of the total column. So this would be like, 3 or 4%, 2%, 5%, and then it'd be percentage of the total revenue across the 3 regions. That's what you're playing with those different percentages of total values. Now let's demonstrate how we can add our own calculated items and calculated fields to a pivot table. Now in order to demonstrate calculated items and fields, I moved the original data into a brand new workbook because calculated items get a little tricky if the data is grouped. And because of one pivot table cache, data was grouped on various sheets, and then I was having troubles trying to create a calculated item. So to understand the difference between a calculated item and a calculated field, in our data, these column headings are our fields. So in a minute, we'll do a calculation in a field. Within a field, so if, for instance, the one I'm going to do is we have 2 different states within the states, Northeast or Nebraska and South Dakota. So I want to calculate the difference in revenue between these 2 states. That is a calculated item, an item being something within a field, okay? So I'm going to quickly generate this pivot table. And I am going to grab the state and put it down here. Maybe I'll go ahead and grab the region, and then I'll grab the revenue. And I'm going to put region on top of state right here. Okay, so let me make this revenue an accounting format just so it looks a little nicer. It's easier to read. There we go. So the items are the values in the fields, and so this is one of the items. So now I'm going to go to the pivot table, analyze, and choose calculated item. So I choose that, and this is the one that has 2 items, and what I'm interested in is diff between states. There we go. And so my formula is simply to subtract, I'll just do it Nebraska from South Dakota, and we'll get the difference between those 2 items. So I hit OK, and now you'll see I have 21 million and 3 million in South Dakota. Well, the difference is the 17 million. So that's a calculated item. Another example, I'll start fresh. We'll do insert a pivot table, and let's just go to an existing worksheet. We'll stick with this one. I'll just put it right here, and this time I'm going to grab the year here, and again we'll do revenue. All right, and let's say I wanted to calculate the projected 2022 value between well, not between, but just given this information, I want to calculate a projected 2022 revenue. And what I'm going to assume is the rate of difference between these 2 years will continue into 2022. So again, I select a single item, and I can go calculated item, and we'll put revenue 2022, and I maybe should put the word projected in front of that. There we go. Now, what are my items? These are them, and so basically what I'm going to do is take year 2021, so I'm going to double click on it because it'll just put it up there, and I'm going to multiply that by the rate of the difference between 2020 and 2021. So I'm just going to divide these 2. And so now when I hit OK, it should put that in, and here is our spelled wrong projected revenue of 2022, although it looks like I got my math backwards. So how to edit these things? You run up here and go calculated item, and it's a little deceiving because you're looking and it's like, oh, it's not here. Well, it's because it's right here. You got to hit the drop down list, and I think I needed to go 21 divided by 20 on that. There we go. And now we'll hit OK. There we go. So if we're 493 here, we're 500 there, now 506 at this point. So those are calculated items. So now let's talk about calculated fields. So using this pivot table, let's assume I want to figure out our average, how much money we get per motel room. So in other words, if this was my revenue and these are the rooms rented, if I were to divide the revenue by the rooms rented, that would give me my daily rate, how much I'm getting for each room on average for that rate. So here we go. I'm going to just grab it on this one. We'll say we're interested in that difference between Nebraska and South Dakota. And so you just click anywhere, pivot table, analyze, and we'll do a calculated field. So it's asking for the name. We'll say average daily rate. And right here we'll put in our formula. Now these are the fields in our table, right? So we're not seeing the items within the fields. These are the actual fields. And basically what I want to do is take the revenue and divide that by the rooms that are rented. And that will give me my average daily rate. And we're now going to add that to our table. We'll hit OK, and there it is, the sum of the average daily rate. Another example would be I want to know revenue per available room. So it's the same idea. Here's my revenue. These are the rooms rented, but these are the rooms in the hotel. So I have 62 rooms. Here's how much revenue I got. What is the amount of revenue per room, even though some of those weren't rented? So same thing, pivot table, analyze, calculated field. We'll call this one revenue per room. And now our formula is basically the same one where I double click on revenue. I guess I should delete that 0 out of there. And we're going to divide that not by the rooms rented, but the total rooms. So I'll double click on that. And notice words with spaces in them will end up with a single quote. It's just easier to double click on things and let Excel figure that out. So you hit OK, and there we go. So when we're renting a room, at least in the central region, it's $100 per room rented. But because of the amount of rooms we have, we're actually getting $69 per available room. So those are just quick examples of a calculated field in an Excel pivot table. And that's it. So again, a lot of powerful tools built into pivot tables. So you have under field settings a lot of those automatic calculations you can do in this list, or of course you can add your own calculations between items within a field or between fields in your data.